Greetings and salutations, everyone. It's me, Dark Chaotic Swan, back at it again to bring you yet another volume of Railway Series Customs. We're on to Volume 2, Part 2. Now, as you know, in the last video, I showcased Gordon 2, technically is his name, and in that video, I showed him off against several other models I made. And one of those models we're reviewing today, that being Hank. Now, to start off, you're probably gonna wonder, why is Hank a 280 when in the show he is 462? Well, simple. In the show, Hank is a PRRK4, which was built in the US. Yet, here he is depicted as S160 USATC, built for World War II after the United States, really joined in the fighting. The reason for this change is very simple. Loading gauge. Hank, in terms of his PRRK4 guys, would greatly upset the loading gauge due to his general size. And no, that's not to say that he wouldn't fit the track gauge. But in terms of loading gauge, he's a bit too heavy. So I swapped him to something that was also built in America, but was built to fit the British standard, which is the USATC S160. This keeps him American, it keeps him viable, and it definitely works. So now, in the same way how I made a story for Gordon 2 last time, we'll make a story for Hank. The main story is that during World War II, he would basically come in, as well as several other World War II built engines, assist during wartime up till 1945 when war ended. At least in terms of Germany's part of the war. Afterwards, the Northwestern would acquire him for running heavy freight duties alongside engines such as Murdoch and, technically Murdoch in a few years later, but running alongside engines like Murdoch, Henry, and Peter in freight role. And basically, by the 50s or 60s, where the story would technically take place, he's basically also just come out of an overhaul. Now, let's take a closer look at them. Here we can see the first trademark of S160s, the tender, being technically split bogey, but here portrayed as just one single, framed unit. Then we've got the coal bunker sticking out at the top, water filler cap. I've given him the number 21 as part of the Northwestern numbering scheme, which we'll get on at a later date. Then, of course, here he is up front. I've tried to keep as much of his original livery as I could. The dark blue, the red. I couldn't keep the white, so that got lost. And then here he has a radio. That's a thing I didn't mention. The engines have radios now. A thing picked up at war. And you also notice the running plate is a bit more rounder than it should be. It should be more squared off in terms of how it bends and arches, but I think it works. After all, the Northwestern has modified its engines before. And here we have the compressor on the face. A feature which, in terms of real-life accuracy, all S160s did have at some point. At least those not fully sent abroad. Because some of the abroad ones got modified at later dates. So yeah, basically this is him in all his glory. His firebox does stick out a bit more, but that works. Now then, in the same way how we did it last time, we're going to show him off next to some things. First up is Gordon 2, with a new face, new dome, and a new tender that's slightly taller. Next off, as stated before, you will get his heavy freight pal. Let me just scoot it over. Peter, an LMS 8F, another 280. So there's that. then let's clear him away, and we'll get Murdoch, who has been refitted with a new boiler recently. And you can really see how, well, big Murdoch is, but we'll get to him at a later date. Now then, as the same thing we did last time, we're gonna put him up next to some rolling stock, and I've just made some 16-ton mineral wagons. So here's how it would look. Only I guess 3, just to keep them on the little area I've made. And then let's quickly slide in a van. That's how we would look there. That's mostly all we have to cover here. In the same way as Gordon has it, valve gear is detailed as best as I could. Cylinders have also been given a little bit of blackened paint. And black wheels as always. Now, without further ado, I guess that'll be where we'll end off. Next episode will once again feature another character that was seen in the Gordon review. So, y'all keep a lookout for that. And I'll see y'all next review. So, take care.